one that is close to my heart. It's called the Sefer Reshit Hochhma. Okay, and it was written by Rabbi Eliyahu Davidas. All right, Rabbi Eliyahu Davidas was a student of the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, lived at the same time as Maran Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, Rabbi Sacharia the Arizal, Rabbi Chaim Vital. Okay, and he wrote an incredible sefer on, and he writes in the sefer on why, a sefer on what it means to have Yirat Shamayim, to revere Hashem. In our generation, unfortunately, probably it seems more than ever before, at the same time that we have, Baruch Hashem, such amazing resources in Torah and learning and access to also Torah, it seems that there's constantly, all the Gedolim are talking about this idea that there's a deficiency of Yirat Shamayim, of just simple fear of Hashem. What does it mean to revere Hashem? And so this was one of the first Sfarim that was written to address that idea, and he saw that deficiency in his generation. They were talking about a generation, just exactly what I just told you he was with. Exactly. So he writes, it's amazing. The Chida writes about Davidas, V'ashrei Adam she'ilmod b'chol yom. Fortunate is the person who will learn this sefer every day, v'yaseh keva shiur echad, and make at least one set shiur in this book. V'dai itnotzetz bo kedusha v'tahara. Immediately, certainly, he'll have a spark of holiness and purity that will arise in him just from learning this sefer. The book of the sefer has a lot to do with. He quotes a lot from the Zohar, from the Gemara, from Chachamim, from Chazal, and he just builds around the idea of what it means to fear Hashem. It's very unapologetic in the sense that the first section is called Sha'ar Ha'irah. It's divided into different gates, and Sha'ar Ha'irah is, in many sections, is kind of scary. It goes through, the depictions or actual discussion and descriptions of, what the underworld is, and what the consequences of, and this and that. And a lot of that is basically the grade one level of having fear of Hashem. Just like we fear our parents when we're children. Don't do this, or you're going to get a little patchy, or you're going to, go in the corner, or, you're going to get detention, or whatever the case is. That's the beginning, and then we start off with next level of love, fearing Hashem out of love. So, and we're going to move through that. And then finally, it's 3 volumes in the annotated version, and then finally he has a whole section on chinuch and on family and different ideas there. So please, if you don't have this at home, definitely pick it up. Okay, or again, we can make photocopies. Okay, Reshit Hochhma. Okay, let's get started.
That song we used to sing in
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things I learned from my rabbis was always read the introduction of a book. When you read the introduction of a sefer, then you get a sense of the mechaber, a sense of the author who wrote it, and it sort of sets the tone for moving forward. So I'll start off with the hakdama, and I'll try to keep it exciting for you. It's good. We're down here in the basement. It's cold. Keep you awake a little bit. Okay, Noda. Says Rabbi Eliyahu Davidas, Heyot emet she'ikar esek haTorah hu lahavi'ah lekiyum ha'ma'aseh. It's known that the truth is that the main aspect of being involved in learning Torah is to bring one to action, to ma'aseh. K'deperash b'masechet Berachot, as is outlined in Masechet Berachot in the second perek, Magala b'humei derava tachlit Chochma tshuva amasim tovim. That it was a jewel. It was a jewel of wisdom, a pearl of wisdom in the mouth of Rava was Tachlit Chochma. In other words, the essence, the ultimate purpose of Chochma, of Torah, is Tshuva u'ma'asim tovim. It is to repent, to know what I've done wrong, to move forward, and ma'asim tovim, and positive actions. Shelo yeheh adam koreh v'shoneh u'boet ba'aviv u'be'imo u'berabo u'b'mi shegadol mimenu b'chochma u'b'minyan. That a person shouldn't be all intellectual and academic, reading and learning Torah, at the same time, literally, Bo'ayat, he's kicking his father and mother, kicking his rabbi, kicking his friend, whoever's greater than him in Chokhmah and age. Shne'emar, and here's the famous line, we have it from Tehillim, Reshit Hochhma, Irat Hashem, Sechel Tov, L'cho Osehem. Right? The beginning of all wisdom, all of us pursue wisdom. The beginning of all wisdom is the reverence, the fear of Hashem. I don't like to use the word fear. It's just for lack of a better term, because it's beyond fear. Fear in English, conjures up images of being scared or terrified of something. To be reverent, again, that term, the closest you can get to it in Hebrew, to be reverent has this idea of awe-inspiring, of awe and fear together. Something greater than us. Okay, so the beginning of all wisdom, any wisdom, is to first have Yirat Hashem, first have reverence of Hashem. So, and the second part of Tehillim says, Sechel Tov l'chol osehem. It is a good sechel, it is a good intelligence, let's say, l'chol osehem, to all those who do it. And he says here, L'lomdehem lo ne'emar ele le'osehem. It doesn't say it's a sechel tov to all those who learn it. You would think, okay, I get sechel tov, I get a good sechel, a good mind from learning. No. Reshit Hochhma Yirat Hashem, I Yirat Hashem, and I get sechel tov from the action that I do. Okay, as it says in Pirkei Avot, Kol shema'asav merubim mechokmato mikayemet, right? All the while the person's actions are greater than his wisdom, he does more, and then his wisdom also advances. If a person just sits there and is academic all the time, doesn't apply what he's learning, he's not going to get anywhere. Okay, so he continues, La'osim lishma, not only about learning and doing, now our next level is to do it for the right reasons. Do it for the right sake. Not to those who don't do not for the right reasons. Very strong statement. One who does something not for the right reasons is better, they would not have been created. And we know, he'll probably address this later on, that we know that a person, we learn, the Gemara tells us that a person, even if one starts out by doing something not for the right reasons, eventually, he'll end up doing it for the right reasons. Okay, person, joins a shul, goes to shiurim because he wants to sit beside the president of the company that he wants to make a deal with, or the CEO, or this and that. He could care less about going to a shiur. The Torah guarantees, the Gemara guarantees, eventually he's going to be going to the shiur for the sake of learning something, because all of a sudden he's going to hear something and it's going to spark him inside, and it's going to start taking him to the next level. Okay, Ad kan Lashono. V'chazar lomar la'osim lishma, and he continued to, and he again reiterated saying to those who do lishma, shedichora hu meyotar. It seems that it's a bit superfluous. Shalom lishma. Okay, it should be lishma. Why you have to say again and not no lishma? Elamdenu, rather to teach us sheikar Torah lishma hi haTorah she'adam lomed kedei lekayma. Very good. So the main part of the Torah that is Torah for its sake is the Torah that a person learns in order to do. To do. Everything we learn is in order to do. It's not just academic. It's not just theoretical. We have to try to apply everything that we do. And so this is, and thus this is the understanding of the verse. When a person prefaces to his wisdom Yirat Hashem, this reverence of Hashem, that Chokhmah will then give a good mind, a good understanding to all those who do it, who accomplish it. The kavanah of wisdom is for none other than to have reverence of Hashem. The Torah that a person learns, that Chokhmah, will teach a person the ways of having irah. Then it has to be that the Chokhmah, that Torah, will be a good mind to all those who accomplish it. And then the Chokhmah will continue to thrive and exist within the person of the Torah. That the person learned the Torah for none other than to accomplish it and to form with it a vessel for Yirat Hashem. And the Irah, having reverence of Hashem from our learning, that is the Ma'aseh. That is part of the action already. That's part of that step of action. Now we get into the Zohar for a second. In the Zohar, Parashat Bereshit, Amar says, Zel Shono. Rabbi Yosef Amar, Sechet Tov, Da Ilana Dechayeh, Dihu Sechet Tov, Belo Ra Klal. Rabbi Yosef says, what does it mean, this term Sechet Tov, a good mind? This is a reference to the Zohar, to the Ilana Dechayeh, the Etz HaChaim, the tree of life, which is Sechet Tov, which is a good mind without any bad at all. It has no essence of bad at all. And has no bad that hovers around it. In other words, the Torah that one attaches oneself to, which is the Etz Chaim, that Torah has only good attached to it, and has no bad attached to it. So when we take this idea and combine it with the previous idea we just discussed, when a person prefaces his reverence to his wisdom, then he merits to acquire the tree of life, Etz Chaim, which is all good, without any bad. But if a person does not preface his ir'ah, then there's no guarantee that his Torah is not without any sort of residue of bad. Because we find that he's sort of literally, allegorically kicking his father and mother, and he's doing things not for their sake. And then he is sort of composed of good and bad. And therefore, that's why it says it's better they should not have been created. And we can understand this very well from that which is written in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma. This was done in Daf Yomi 3 or 4 weeks back. It says in the Perek Bala Kun Gadol on page 72b, Amar Rabbi Yonatan says, "My dichtiv." What does the pasuk mean in Mishlei? Lama zeh mahir biyad kesi liknot. Why is this merchandise in the hands of the fool to acquire? So he explains, woe to the enemies of the Talmidei Chachamim. It's a phrase that basically means woe to the Talmidei Chachamim, woe to the scholars she'oskim b'Torah, that are involved in Torah, and behem yirat shamayim, and they don't have yirat shamayim. Okay, it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing. Talmidei Chachamim, scholars who learn Torah but don't have yirat shamayim. Machriz Rabbi Alexandri exclaims, Chaval al delet le darta v'tar'ad le darta aved. It's chaval. It's painful that the person doesn't have a courtyard, but he makes a gate to the courtyard. Okay. Amadahu Rabbanan. Rava said to Rabbanan, "B'matuta b'nechu, please, I ask before you, delo tertu tatei gehenam. Please don't inherit 2 gehenoms." So what does all this mean? Rashi explains to us. Explains Rashi, on the word darta is hatzer, we said it's a courtyard. V'tar'al darta avid, but he makes a gate for the courtyard. What does this mean? That the Torah, and not ila sha'al yikanes ba li'yirat shamayim. The Torah is none other than a gate for us to enter into yirat shamayim. L'chen tzarich sheyakdim lo yirat Hashem. Therefore, he must first of all start off with yirat Hashem. What is Tartei Gehenom? What 2 Gehenoms? How you get 2 Gehenoms here? Rashi explains. Liot yegeim v'amelim b'Torah ba'adam hazeh v'lo tekaymuha v'tirshu Gehenom b'motchem. To be to toil and to be involved in Torah in this world, and then you don't fulfill it, and you're going to inherit Gehenom with your deaths. And in your lives, lo nehenitem ba'olamchem. In your lives, you really didn't appreciate, you really didn't enjoy, in your world. So in other words, a person that doesn't have yirat shamayim cannot ultimately benefit, cannot ultimately really achieve full enjoyment and pleasure of this world. There are many different levels of pleasure, you should know. Okay, that in itself is a whole class, the whole shiur. Okay, Eshet Torah is a big thing on pleasure. Noach Weinberg had a whole lecture he gave that I learned. It's different levels of pleasure. The lowest level of pleasure is physical pleasure, right? So pleasure, and we're all pleasure seekers. It's one of our purposes in life, or some may say the purpose of our life is we seek pleasure. The highest level of pleasure is pleasure with the divine, understanding the divine. So that yirat shamayim, that is the ultimate pleasure, connecting with the divine, with Hashem. And that's the words of the Gemara. V'atam shekara li'yirat shamayim chatzer v'hu ha'ikar. And the reason why, says the Mechaber, says Rabbi Davidas, the reason why he called yirat shamayim the courtyard, and it is the main thing. V'chokma k'nisa la, and the Torah is just an entrance to it. Nir'eh li shiyuvan b'meh sheheviu b'mimra zo b'mesech Shabbat perek bet. It seems to me we can understand that they brought this saying again, they brought this portion again in Masechet Shabbat. Zeh l'shono. Machriz Rabbi Yonai exclaimed, Chava adelet le data v'tar'ad data avid u'simich le. It says again, Rabbi Yonai said there, it's woeful that the person doesn't have a courtyard, but he makes a gate for the courtyard that he doesn't have. U'simich le. And right beside it in Masechet Shabbat it says there, Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, Lo bara hakadosh baruch hu et olamo ela kedeh sheyireu milefanav. The Holy One Blessed is He, Hashem, did not create the world for none other than for people to have yir'ah before him, to have reverence for him. It's Masach Shabbat, straight. Shnei Emar, as it says in Kohelet and Ecclesiastes, V'Elohim asa she'um lifanav. And Hashem made that they should fear him, have reverence before him. That's the words of the Gemara.
It's different than what the Ramchal says, that Hashem created the world for us to receive His good.
Very good. Okay.
It's almost like
So it's almost like
Hashem
we
needs
almost
something.
kind of like contradict it in a way.
Okay, so we're looking at it. Very good. So the Ramchal, and it's Derech Hashem talking, you're quoting, right? The Ramchal is looking at it, kiviyachol, from the perspective of Hashem, right? And in this case, we're looking at it from our perspective. So in other words, our job or our obligation. You're right. This doesn't negate the fact that Hashem wants to bestow good. Hashem wants to bestow shefa all the time, non-stop, 24 hours a day. The question is our kli ready to receive the shefa? How do we build that kli? And part of building that kli is first having Yirat Shamayim, to receive that shefa, that abundance, that good that Hashem constantly wants to bestow upon people. Right? Okay. Shememrat Rabbi Yehuda nismecha lememrat Rabbi Yanai kidei lefaresh devarav. It seems that this statement Rabbi Yehuda was juxtaposed to the statement of Rabbi Yanai in order to explain it. Ube'u devarav shenoda sheikar ha'olam hu Yisrael shebishvila nivra ha'olam. And in explaining his words, it's known that the main essential idea of the world is Israel, is the people of Israel. Shebishvilam, that for them the world was created. As it says in on the words of the first line of Bereshit bara Elokim, right? Bishvil Israel shenikru Reshit. For Israel, for Am Yisrael, that were called Reshit, the first of all the nations. Let's not forget the sort of the structure of how Hashem created the universe. He started off by saying, "I'm going to bestow good on everybody." Right? Universal. It was a universal idea. Then he sees, Torah says Beferush, says Bereshit. He saw people were Yetzer Lev Hadam Ra Min Urav. No one wants to do any good, right? No one wants to do any good. So Hashem says, okay, well, I can't. He gives the 10 generations from Adam to Noah. Then he gives another 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. We have the Mabul, giving a chance for the world to, let's do this universal thing, guys. Come on, get with the program. Hashem is saying to people, in other words, doesn't work out, the Mabul. I got to start from one person now. I got to start from Abraham. Obviously, there's ultimate, Hashem knows exactly from the beginning what's going to be, right?
That comes to the question that I asked you yesterday. Okay, just to add to how can he expect the people to do good without the Torah actually giving, right? If we just say that the Torah is a mean for us to get from, so we can be free and we do good with it.
Right.
They didn't have the Torah at that time, so how that was expected from them? My question was, the 10 Commandments, why the 10 Commandments were not done, let's say, right after the Mabul? Like saying that in that kind of a generation. I mean, you cleanse everything, clean, now you start fresh, give it to them, and hopefully good things will happen. Just only after Yetziat Mitzrayim the Torah was given.
Right. So we have a tradition. We have the tradition that the Torah was sort of unofficially given or unofficially existed amongst the Avot and carried on through Yaakov Avinu and through Leviim and through the rest of the generation until the official Mamad Har Sinai, revelation of Har Sinai. So we could say at least that there was Torah, there was a tradition handed down. Why wasn't it given to the time of the Bull? You're right. I guess it wasn't part of the picture. If you look at it just from a pshat perspective, from a superficial understanding, Hashem just basically cleared the world, cleansed it, right? And so now he's going to start off everything from Avraham Avinu now, starting from Avraham, right? No, it's like Noah, 10 generations, and you have still, the Tur Bavel. You still have all this iniquity, this rishut that is existing in the world, and people are still not sort of getting it. And so Hashem turns to Avraham. Avraham now again discovers Hashem on his own, as it were, and so says, okay, Avraham Ahuvi, one of my beloved Avraham, and we're going to go with Yitzhak now. But even through Avraham and Yitzhak and until Yaakov, to get to Yaakov with the Shevatim, with Bet Shevatim, you see like this cleansing process that even with Avraham happens. Like Avraham had to clean not himself had to be, he had to be cleaned up from terach, from that shemetz of avodah zarah. We see that he has Ishmael, so a little bit of this tum'ah has to go, and we have Yitzchak, we have Esav, a little bit also has to be berurim, has to be cleaned up a little bit, and finally we get to Yaakov with his shlemut. Right, it's Tenemet Yaakov, right? And then we have the Yud Shvatim that are in the Shlemut, and it's from that point forward that Hashem says, okay, now from these people, now everything's sort of cleansed, as it were, and each one of them now espouses, the belief system totally and completely of Avraham Avinu. So now from these people, we've got to we're going to give the Torah.
So I can assume that Abraham believed in Hashem differently than Noah.
100%.
Completely different. Like the whole concept was completely different.
That's the classic argument of Noach Tamim Hayab Tzaddik Hayab Dor. It was Tamim Dor Tav. It was Tzaddik, right? Noach, So in his time, what do you think in his time? So the classic argument. Some say it's praiseworthy. Some say it's an insult.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So if you compare that to Abraham, had he been in the door of Avraham Avinu, he would have been nowhere near Avraham, as it were. So that's the stance you can take. What about it? Are we done? 45 minutes, or okay?
We had another 5.
Okay. Yeah, you have to time me. Okay, so we have this idea now that the world was ultimately created for Am Yisrael, who are called Reshit. Okay, they're called the first. V'Yisrael hem ikar kiyum ha'olam, and Am Yisrael they are the main point of existence of the world. She'ef efshar la'olam b'lo Yisrael. The world cannot be without Am Yisrael. These are very strong, very powerful statements. Okay, Shne'emar, as it says in Zechariah, ki ke'alba ruchot, all right, just like the 4 winds, all right, the 4 directions, just like keshem she'yeshad la'olam b'lo ruchot, just like the world cannot exist without the structure of directions and winds. Kach yeshad la'olam b'lo Yisrael, so too the world cannot exist without Am Yisrael. V'haTorah lo nivret ela b'shvil Yisrael, sheyedu lahakir et bor'am, and the Torah was created for none other than the Jewish people, that they should know and recognize their Creator. Like it says in the Sifri, Zeh Leshonam. Here's the word. Here it is. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Omer, Kimei ha'etz yemei ami. Just like the days of the tree are the days of my people. What does that mean? Ve'en etz ela Torah. And there's no tree, and none other than the Torah. Shneimar etz chaim hina mahazikim ba. There's a tree of life for those who grab onto it. We see it's a kal v'chomer, it's a corollary, meaning Uma Torah shelo nivret ela lichvodan shel Israel, harei hi kayemet la'olam u'lamim, and just like the Torah that was created for none other than the honor of Am Yisrael, and it exists for eternity, kal v'chomer, all the more so to the tzaddikim, to the righteous, should be shvidam nivra ha'olam, that for them the world was created, akan l'shonam. And in fact, the Derech Hashem outlines later on in the Sefer this concept of the righteous. Hashem created as part of the structure of the universe this idea of a tzaddik, this idea of a tzaddik. Yes, every person can become a tzaddik. There's no doubt about it, But there's also this concept of a tzaddik that's created, that's placed into the world. Okay, very good. Imken nafka mina. We see that what comes out of this. Shekol metziut ha'olam ikarohu Israel. That all the reality of the world, its main essential aspect is Israel, is Am Yisrael. And Hashem gave us the Torah for none other than for us to have reverence before Him. And so it was also explained in the section of the Zohar called Ra'aya Mehemna. Sheikar b'yat ha'olam begin d'ishtemuda'on leh. That the whole idea of the creation of the world was for us to recognize Hashem, to see Hashem in every single thing that we do, wherever we are, whatever we're doing. Imken, if that's the case, if that's the case, then the reverence that a person fears his Creator that created everything, that is the main courtyard, as it were, that the Gemara is referring to. The Chokma hamelamedet haderech hi sha'ar haknisa. And the Chokhmah, the Torah, that teaches one the path, that is the entranceway, that is the gateway. So we find, shekivan shelo nivra ha'adam ela she'ira et haboreh, v'zehu ikar chokhmah k'dei pereshit. Ha'oseh hepech zeh. So to review, since the man was created for none other than to fear Hashem, His Creator, and this is the main part of the Torah of learning, then one who does the opposite of this, it is better noach lo shelo nivra, they would not have been created. Because in essence, he flips upside down the whole intention of the Creator. V'nimtza bri'ato levatala. Then we find that his creation was for naught, was for nothing. Ve'isko b'chokhmah levatala, and his involvement in Torah also levatala is futile. V'noch lo ha'eder me'achar she'eno bo to'elet. It's better for him to be not even present, because there's no benefit that's coming out of what he's doing. We'll stop here.
But this is really up to us to judge. I mean, Hashem puts each and one of us on earth for a reason.
So I'm not telling you to judge anybody.
No, but this is kind of, this book is like, if you don't study, you really should not be here. It's like
I'm getting something else. Also, I'm getting that Hashem has needs. He needs us to fear Him.
Well, does
he need us to fear Him?
So ultimately, Hashem doesn't need anything.
Doesn't need anything.
You're right.
But he's saying,
right.
but if you're the purpose of your world here is to fear me.
That's right. To understand and recognize Hashem, and to come to that idea of reverence of Hashem. Yirat Hashem.
Yeah, I get
whatever that is.
Well,
For
Hashem
them.
understands that for us to do his to do the actions, we have to have fear. He understands that. We have to understand that he understands that for us to
And
do
we
it.
have to understand that it's not for his selfish reasons.
What I
it's
don't,
for
what I
us.
don't get that somebody that writes the book actually make a statement in Hashem's name in a way that really, if you don't do it, Hashem wasted his time.
Well, he's quoting the Gemara. He's quoting the
But it's like
Gemara.
saying Hashem wasted a neshama on earth. It can't be. It can be.
We'll see. So we'll see.
Giving you a chance.
Hashem never wasted. There's no waste of
That's
Hashem.
right.
You're right. Exactly. So if the person doesn't get it in this life, he'll get it in the next life, or whatever the case is, or
Whatever it is, it's Hashem's decision to put us on earth, wherever form we are, and it's not for nobody else to tell us, hey, if you're not studying, you're really wasted air. In a way, that's what it is.
Well, he's telling you, so you should get up and study because you're.
Not only that, and if your studying is not bringing you to recognize God in the world and to fear Hashem, then that studying also is futile. It's like
not doing it right.
not doing it.
Well, what if you study and you do have fear of Hashem, but you still have some sort of strong desires? And they say that some of those desires are your tikkunim. I was just listening to Shiur.
Strong desires is Sahara. Strong desires means yes.
No, we are built from the 4 forms of fire.
Nice.
And each of those forms represent desires. Like water represents the strong ta'avas, and afar represents the laziness in us.
Very good.
All kind of stuff like that. And apparently Hashem sent us with a certain desire in order for us to metaken. But if we have to come back in a new Yigul, He takes away that desire, put something else to see if we can. Because it didn't work with this desire. Let's try something else.
Right. So these 4 midot, that's called Eshmaim Ruach Afar. These 4 midot, they have it's like they'll have the yin and yang. There's a good aspect to them and a bad aspect to them. Right, so each person has an excess or deficiency of one of these type of thing, and it is part of our job to sort of, to mitaken, to fix it or to balance it out.
It's like a drug addict in a way that he knows that it's bad for him, but he can't control it. He can't. He's like, it's so consuming him that he has to do it.
Right. It all starts with a decision. At the basic premise of addiction and rehabilitation, it all starts with the person's decision, the person's will. About it.
I saw a lot of the show Intervention and see how hard it is for those people with the intervention, and they made a decision, and then they go back after.
You should read Twersky's work. Right, Twersky, Dr. Twersky, excellent. He deals exclusively with addiction for a long time. He takes the aspect. It's very much it's a Torah idea. He says part of his approach is it's below you. Like, you're better than this. In other words, he builds the person's self-esteem, and it's below you to do such a thing, to resort to do this. You look who you are. The world was created for you. How could you do such a thing? Like, in other words, you're greater than this. In other words, you're held to a higher standard. Sometimes that's what you need. We all need that.
It's true.
So give me the little green cap for this.